Nine, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Go. Face in your face. Face in your face.
Good evening, everybody. Welcome to another episode of Uncommon Sense with Jose Negron. Now, for the benefit of those of you who are not familiar with the channel, watching this channel for the first time, what we do here is we try to discuss everyday issues where we try to find logical solutions. But not everyone uses logic. For that reason, it is called Uncommon Sense. I'm currently live on YouTube, Facebook, and Instagram. And the subscriber mode has been enabled, meaning if you're not a subscriber, and if you wish to enter a comment in the chat, you need to subscribe to the channel. Now, I see we already have someone here. Good evening, Embrace Your Curls. Thank you very much for stopping by. I also have another YouTube channel called Latina Diaspora, where I talk about issues regarding Latinos in the United States. The link to that channel is in the description. As always, I want to give a huge shout out to all those who have already subscribed to the channel. Whether you've been a supporter from the very beginning or just recently joined, I really appreciate your continued support. I also want to give a huge shout out to all those who follow me on social media, as well as those who allow me to enter any devices, and those who watch from the clouds, even the haters. And it seems like I got a couple of people who love to hate watch me. Well, hey, it's okay. In any case, so what I'm going to ask you to do is I'm going to ask you to please subscribe, like, and set the bell notification to all. So therefore, whenever I do produce content, you will have the opportunity to catch it live or catch it on the playback. So as you can see by the thumbnail, the topic for tonight is avoiding toxic people. And that's something that most people with some brain power try to avoid. But before we get into the main topic, I do have quite a few things to discuss, and I'm going to be sharing it in my words. Now I'm going to try to keep it brief because I do have a lot. I do want to get into the topic, but I have quite a few things to discuss. First of all, there's the situation over in California, particularly Los Angeles, where all the fires are out there, and unfortunately, you do have people whose homes have been severely damaged or destroyed. Um, I don't know if there's been any loss of life. Hopefully there isn't. One of the things that bug that I do not understand is how can you cut the funding of the fire department, particularly at a time when they're having a lot of fires. I don't know. I don't know too much about the politics in California or Los Angeles. That's something I'm going to have to do some research about. Now, the next thing I want to discuss is today is my father's birthday. My father, Jose Negron, would have been 89 years old today. I'm sorry, 95 years old today. And there's a picture of my father. Those of you who are not familiar, My father passed away in 2012, 4 days before my birthday. So I just want to give a huge shout out to my father. Um, he was 83 years old when he did pass away, and I just want to say to my father, rest in peace. Solamente le quiero decir, papi, que feliz cumpleaños en tu día, en el cielo, y que descansen en paz. Now, the next person I'm going to talk about is my sister Doris, who 5 years ago passed away from the effects of stage 4 lung cancer. She was only 68 years old. Um, she was, kind of way, kind of like a second mom, and she went through a lot. Um, Seeing her only son to be killed in a car accident, it's something that no parent wants to see. No parent wants to see their child die before they do. And my sister went through a lot. So I just want to say, Doris, you are always missed. You will live in my heart, and may you rest in peace. Now, now the next thing I want to address is this. Um, I wasn't too sure how I'm going to respond, but I'm going to give my response anyway. Once again, people who do not know me are the ones that the law is to talk about and how I'm a certain way, I'm this and what have you. But it's funny that person who made the comment uh, never bothered to have a discussion with me. And of course, I have haters, and apparently this person love to hate watch my content. I say, fine. If you want to increase um, my watch hours, that's perfectly fine. That's perfectly fine. Um, Now, some of some of the missing uh, has been regarding the fact that I'm still dealing with a beef that I had um, 2.5 years ago with a content creator called Magic Malala. First of all, that's all history. I have gotten over it. She was someone that I had some interaction. It did not end well, and I did the logical thing, separate myself from her. I unsubscribe. She's banned from this channel. I have no ill feelings towards her. Um, I don't know what she's doing. I really don't. I don't wish her any ill will. I only wish her well in whatever she does. Uh, I have extended an olive branch. Um, if she ever wanted to accept it, the only thing I expected was that she took accountability for her actions, just like I need to take accountability for my actions. She never did, so it's not my issue. It's her issue. So um, now another thing. Um, Generally, I don't talk about other people, other content creators all that much, particularly in the negative sense, because um, it's just that people need to get to know me better before they talk. Good evening, Jojo. Okay, Okay, this is it. This is it. I don't have a problem reconciling with her. But in order for that, we both have to take accountability for our actions. Until that happens, I don't see that. I don't see that happening. Okay. You know what? Anything is possible. Okay. Because of course, as a Christian, I do believe in forgiveness or whatever. But there's a difference between Magic Mulata and Zacharias. Zacharias disrespected me on multiple occasions and actually cast aspersions regarding me being a racist and never took accountability for his actions. Magic, to this day, has not taken accountability for her action, but her actions were not as severe. So there's always a possibility we can reconcile. But as I stated, she has to take accountability for her actions. And the same thing could be said for other people. Same thing could be said for the end report. The same thing could be said for the future is golden. In order for us to be in good standing and get along, all parties involved need to take accountability. Now, as far okay, the problem is I don't think she's going to invite me in Discord. That is the reality. In order for that, but I will, if we're about to have a meeting, I would prefer that someone act as an intermediary, as a go-between. Perhaps you, just as a suggestion. But again, there has to be accountability for, and that was one of the big issues that I had with Magic. Her inability to take accountability for her actions. And when I requested on another platform that a certain topic do not be discussed, she needs to respect my wishes. And that was another issue, okay, which is why we parted company. She didn't take accountability and she did not respect my wishes, okay? Can we be reconciled? Anything's possible, but that has to be set. That has to be setting. And as far as Zacharias, that's a total different setting altogether. Good evening, Donna. Now I'm just going to address Lashid in this fashion. If you want to go ahead and become the female version of Donald Trump, by all means, go ahead. I never thought the day would come when you would get so butthurt over one short video stream where my criticism was extremely mild. Okay. Okay, you know what? I get it. But this is the thing. I tried to have a discussion with her privately. She would not accept. Like I said before, we can have a discussion, but there has to be both parties have to take accountability for their actions. And if we do to get along, she's going to have to accept the fact that I'm going to be cool with whoever I'm cool with. Okay? Now, I get it. There's certain people which I'm cool with, she's not cool with. She's going to have to get over it and realize that it is what it is. So, Lashid, you said to me, get over it. You know what? Why don't you follow your own advice? Get over it and stop getting so hypersensitive just because someone says a little bit. And to be perfectly honest, this is only the first time I'm addressing you since that video, which was done months ago. And it was constructive criticism. So grow up, you know, get some therapy. And if you don't got anything positive to say, then don't say anything at all. Okay. And if you want to hate watch, fine. And if you want to give me free press, that's also fine. But it is what it is. And that's all I'm going to say to it. And of course, you know what's going to happen. Lashid is going to continue to, do her streams, talk about me, and spread her uh, narrative that I am a certain way. And as far as being so-called, getting myself into other people's business and things of that nature, I have a right to express my opinions as I see fit. You don't like it, don't listen. It is that simple. Now, with that being said, we're going to get into the main topic. Oh, one more thing I forgot. Also in the description is the link to the video to the stream I did, which was basically my critique regarding her beef with Visions of Asia, where apparently uh, Lashid lost it and had a major hissy fit and is continuing to have a hissy fit over one commentary. I mean, it's okay for her to comment on others, but people cannot comment on her. Get a life. So, in any case, uh, the link to join the panel has been pinned. Sure, anyone wishes to hit the link and opine regarding the topic at hand, they can do so. As always, as I stated again, if if I have never seen you before, if I never heard from you before, I will insist that you come up in the backstage to make sure that no one flashes anything inappropriate, particularly when it comes to genitalia that might cause the people of YouTube to take down their stream. Now, as far as the topic, not all of us have dealt with people who are very toxic. In other words, argumentative, that people that love to be contrary, uh, who can never say anything positive, a griper acting like Karen, like a certain YouTube creator that I just spoke about. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to share some articles regarding how to avoid toxic people. Okay. Um, a lot of it has to do is you have to create your own space. A lot of it also has to do with the fact that you have to be willing to separate yourself from people who try to bring negativity or drama. Okay. Now, if you notice, quite a few of my shorts has to do with avoiding drama because I like to use humor. Okay. But the fact of the matter is, trying to avoid negative people, uh, that's something that we have to take seriously. Okay. So let me just give you a moment. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to share my screen. Hopefully my internet won't get jinky tonight. This article that I'm going to share with you is from a website called Healthline, and it deals with the do's and don'ts with dealing with toxic behavior. Okay, it was written 4 years ago, but I think the information involved, oops, excuse me, is thus is valid today as it was written that day. And it was written by, actually reviewed by Dr. Janet Brittle. Um, okay, so this, excuse me. Let me just. Dealing with a toxic person can be mentally draining, but employing certain communication techniques can help you to protect your boundaries. Okay. We all know that person, the one that leaves you feeling worse off after interacting with them. Maybe it's a manipulative family member or a co-worker who can't stop complaining about every little thing. It's common to refer to these people as being toxic. But it's important to keep in mind that mission. If you have a hard time dealing with someone in your life, it's helpful to stop pinpointing the problematic behaviors rather than simply label them as being toxic. Now, here are some signs of toxicity: self absorption or self centeredness, manipulation and other emotional abuse, dishonesty and deceit, difficulty offering compassion to others, tendency to create drama or conflict, like basically something that my haters do. Some familiar, read on for tips on how to respond to this type of behavior. Avoid playing into their reality. Some people have a tendency to see themselves as the victim in every situation, kind of like Lashid does. Okay, they mess with up. They might shift the blame to someone else or tell a story that paints them in a more positive light. You might feel tempted to nod and smile in order to prevent an angry outburst. This might feel like the safety option, but it also encourages them to see you as a supporter. Try a respectful disagreement instead. You might say, "I have a different take on the situation and describe what really happened." Stick to the facts without making accusations. While your disagreement might upset them, might lower the chances of them involving you again. And don't get drawn in. Dealing with someone's toxic behavior can be exhausting. The person might constantly complain about others and always have a news story about unfair treatment or even accuse you of wrongdoing them or not caring about their needs. Kind of like a certain female creator that has issues with me. Resist the urge to jump on the complaining train within and defend yourself against accusations. Instead, respond with simple, "I'm sorry that you feel that way," and leave it at that. Pay attention to how they make you feel. Sometimes simply becoming more aware of someone's toxic behavior affects you can help you better navigate interactions with them. Most people occasionally say rude or hurtful things that they don't mean. No one feels their best at all times. And being in a bad mood can make you lash out. This isn't necessarily toxic. But ask yourself if put down lies or other types of emotional or visual abuse characterize most of your interaction. Do they apologize or seem to notice what they say or do affect you? Interesting. Person who struggles to don't excuse abuse, and you don't have to accept it either. Talk to them about their behavior. Someone who gossip, manipulate others, or create dramatic situation might not realize how their behavior affects you or anyone else. An open conversation may help them to realize this behavior is unacceptable. To keep things neutral, try to stick to the I statements, which feel less accusatory for the other person, and set boundaries that work for you. Here are some examples of this in action. I feel uncomfortable when I hear unkind things about our coworkers. I won't participate in those conversations. I value trust in our friendship, so I can continue this friendship if you like to meet again. Put yourself first. On the flip side, behave doesn't have to be abuse or spiteful to be toxic. Other behavior can be damaging. Maybe the person in question desperately needs your help to get them out of a bind every time you see them. Or Susskind says you're always giving and they're always taking. Or you feel like their emotional stability depends on you. You might value your relationship with the person, but don't offer support at the risk of your own well-being. Happy relationships involve give and take. Susskind explains, in other words, you offer support, but you receive it support too. Good evening, April Shaw. Thank you very much for stopping by. The topic for tonight is avoiding toxic people. That's something that we all have to deal with at times of our life. Taking care of yourself involves making sure they have enough emotional energy to meet your own needs. This may not happen when you're giving everything to someone who doesn't offer anything in return. Offer compassion, but don't try to fix them. People can change, but they have to be willing to put in the work to do so. You might want to help someone you care about instead of writing them completely out of your life. But while you can always offer compassion and kindness, you likely won't be able to change them. Yeah. At the end of the day, they have to commit to putting an effort, trying to help someone to change before they're ready can set your emotional resources further. Yes. Say no and walk away. Have a hard time turning people down, you aren't alone. Sticking to refusal can be tough, especially when someone tries to guilt trip you into changing your mind. But if you decide to say no, don't back down. This may prove challenging, especially when they use a dramatic outburst to try to get their way. But the more you practice saying no to things they are comfortable with, the easier it becomes. Remove yourself from the situation and help you avoid scenes. If you can't physically leave, make it clear that you're no longer involved in the discussion. Say, excuse me, and turn away, for example. Remember, you aren't at fault. Toxic behavior can make you feel like you did something wrong, even when you know that you didn't. It's tough to face attacks from someone who behaves in a toxic manner. They might get personal, try to twist your words, or accuse you of wanting to hurt them. At some point, you might even second guess yourself and rack your brain for something you might have done. But remind yourself that your behavior has nothing to do with you. Restate your boundaries and try not to take their spite personally. Take deep breaths and calm yourself or mindfully acknowledge that there was so you can let go without being affected. Make yourself unavailable. People who act in a toxic way can often sense who they can manipulate. Susskind says they may move on when they see that their tactics won't work on you. If you're never available, they might eventually stop trying to engage. The strategy can be particularly helpful at work when you're bound to have plenty of honest excuses like, sorry, I have too much work to chat. Gotta prep for the meeting, so I can't talk. You might face some passive aggressive remarks or accusation when you make your excuses. Try not to respond, even if you're upset. Remember, it's not about you. Limit your time together. Do you dread seeing a particular person, feel anxious or stressed beforehand? Take these feelings as a sign that you may not want to see them, may want to see them less. People who behave toxically tend to focus on themselves and what they for any problems that they have shown little interest in your feelings or needs. They can spend time with this can make spending time with them unpleasant. If you're dealing with someone who picks fights with you or repeatedly pushes your boundaries, now this is something in case you cannot avoid the person. Someone you still have options. Boundaries are essential. Setting boundaries involve deciding what you will or will not tolerate. Communicate these boundaries clearly and stick to them. Maybe you don't mind listening to your coworkers' dramatic stories, even the gossip. Especially if you're talking to a supervisor. But it's certainly possible to be polite. If it helps, consider coming up with a few goal lines ahead of time that you can pull out as needed. Try something. I'm sorry, but I have to stop you. I have to a lot of work, so I can't chat right now. Or sorry, I'm waiting for an important phone call and I can't get into this right now. Change your routine. Does a family member always catch you when you're studying or hold up on your way to work? Maybe a coworker always complaining at lunch about how horrible everyone's treating them. Ideally, they respect boundaries, he said, but it doesn't seem always happen. While it may not seem fair that you're the one that has to change, it's often worth it for your own well-being. Switching up your routine can help avoid getting pulled into the conversation rather skip. Try eating lunch somewhere else besides the bedroom or wearing headphones or reading a book. Avoid family members can be harder. Try respectful but confident conversation about needing to focus on your studies. If you're on the way out the door, practice the quick exit strategy. Sorry, I'm late. Encourage them to get help. It's often difficult to understand why people behave in toxic ways. It might help to consider that they might be dealing with some personal challenges that are causing them to lash out. This is an excuse problematic behavior, but I can help explain it. If you have a close relationship with someone who behaves in a toxic way, consider pointing out some harmful behavior and explaining how it can affect you if you feel comfortable in doing so. If they seem receptive, encourage them to talk to a therapist about the way they act, act the way they do. Psychotherapy can help people identify problematic behavior and learn to manage their emotions and reactions in healthier ways. Don't get personal. Uh, be clear about how you are and unwilling to engage. Toxic behavior can gossiping, oversharing personal details, or using personal information to provoke reactions. If you know someone who does these things, keep your conversation light and insignificant. Shut down attempts of prying or oversharing by something. Actually, I prefer not to talk about my relationship at work. Maintain calm. You might wonder why it's possible to stay calm on the other person when just thinking about crossing paths make your heart calm. Stay grounded. Next time you feel anxious about action, try grounding yourself with these tips. Breathe slowly and deeply. Try relaxing your muscles instead of tensing them up. Let the words wash over you and silently repeat in a calming manner. Distract yourself if the situation allows. Doodle, fidget with an object, or close your eyes and visualize your favorite place. Work with a therapist. You have to if you have to stay involved with the person, consider getting help with a mental health professional. Therapists are trained to help people work through difficult situations like those and can offer compassionate, judgment-free support that fits your circumstances. Now, the bottom line is sometimes cutting people out of your life may seem like the only way to escape their toxic behavior, but this isn't always feasible. If you spend time with someone who exhibits toxic behavior, remind yourself that their actions aren't your fault nor your responsibility. It's important to know that you're not willing to know what you're not to tolerate. And we're going to park it here. Okay, let me just sit down. And before I forget, let me just state that embrace your codes, Georgia, Darmando, and April Showers all have their respected YouTube channels. So I'm going to ask that you show some love and support to them, subscribe, and watch their content. Now, here we have some good strategies on how to deal with toxic people. Okay, some people like our family or co-workers. I mean, we have to deal with them. Okay, but the key is limit your involvement and limit your interaction with such people. Now, um, I'm blessed in a way because I work remotely 2 days out of the week. So there, and I live alone, so I don't have to deal with all that. But when it comes to toxic people, I mean, they tend to be extremely self-centered. Okay, and it could be sometimes they're not aware. It could be other times they're aware and they just uh, they main focus on themselves. Okay, so you do have to set boundaries for yourself to make sure that people don't continue with their ish. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to share one more article. Okay, just give me a moment. Oops. I mean, look, I have dealt with toxic coworkers. I have dealt with family members who are toxic and toxic. I also have to deal with YouTube creators who are toxic. Okay, and the reality is this: you have to set boundaries. Okay, and try to remain calm as much as you can. And of course, one thing about toxic people is that they love to create some sort of reaction or response. Okay. You just have to learn to have the discipline not to respond, because when you respond, basically you're in favor. So I'm just gonna this is how do this article was updated April of last year. Okay. So I'm just going to skip the first paragraph and then we're going to get into the main topic. So these are certain techniques um, to help you to deal with toxic people. Okay. But now, the first thing is telling how you feel. And you see here there is a picture representation of a female expressing that his words um, are very toxic. Okay. Tell the person that you need to talk to them, sit down in private so the two can talk without distractions on the behavior. And here are some examples. Set hard boundaries with them. Tell a toxic person clearly what behavior you will tolerate. When there's a toxic person who can't completely cut out of your life, clear communication with them becomes extremely important. Now they know in uncertain terms what is not okay. Ask follow-up questions or even ask them to repeat back what you said so you know they understand you. Be assertive and honest. A toxic person will often try to manipulate you into believing that they're the victim and you're being unreasonable. But by setting boundaries, you are taking care of yourself and your emotional well-being. Focus on the things you can control. Identify what you can control and don't worry about the rest. If you're dealing with a toxic person who can't completely eliminate from your mind, try to limit to the degree that they can affect you. Look at what you can control in terms of your relationship with that person and focus your energy only on that. For example, if your management at work is toxic, simply focus on doing your job to the best of your ability. This will help neutralize some of the impact of their toxic behavior. Validate your own feelings. Support your feelings and your right to have them. If you get in the habit of labeling your emotions, taking time to identify them, it will be easier for them to flow. Then you'll be better able to understand what really caused an emotional response you're having and how it's best to deal with it. A lot of this is about living more in the moment. A toxic person won't affect you as much if you can learn to label the feeling that they're triggering so you can let go and maintain a calmer state. Allow yourself to say no. I'm not going to change my mind on this. Refuse to get involved in anything that you don't want to. It can be really hard to say no to a toxic person in large part because they are likely to use guilt and emotional manipulation to try to change your mind. Give yourself permission to protect your own health and well-being by telling them no when they try to rope you into something that makes you uncomfortable. If they try to criticize you by saying no, then you know, sorry about that. I mean, it's gonna be one of those nights. I try to screen one more time. If not, I'm just gonna have to read it. Oh, come on. I'm gonna try to share my screen one more time. My apologies. Good evening, Irby. Thank you very much for stopping by. Tonight's topic is how to deal avoiding toxic people. So I'll just share some certain points. I'm gonna have to read it because this computer is not allowing me to share. Um, so let me just. Stay away from toxic person as much as you can. The best way to deal with toxic people is simply not to. Thank you, April. Engage with them at all and cut them out completely out of your life. That's something you can completely do for whatever reason. Try to avoid it as possible. so they cannot affect you as much. Okay. Focus on yourself. Take care of yourself and cater to your own needs. Toxic people have a way of manipulating with you. You put in their needs ahead of your own. If you've been sacrificing for their benefit, it's time to put a stop to it. Think about what you need to feel. Okay. Uh, my apologies. This is a struggle string tonight. Okay. So the last thing I discussed was spend to the people who love you and care about you and look out to your all well-being. Okay. The way a toxic will treat you is a reflection on who they are. It has nothing to do with you. Recognize that you are powerful, and it's likely nothing you can do about not making excuses for toxic people. Okay. Um, Stop making excuse. Hello. Okay. Stop making excuses for toxic people. Recognize there's no justification for toxic behavior. It might in your own nature to make excuses for the toxic behavior, especially if there's a family member who you know in your home life. You may understand, not understand why. Oh, come on. Hello. Okay. I'm not going to continue the last points because this my internet is acting up, and I don't want to make this a three. Okay, let's see. Okay, my apologies. It's just that the signal is getting weak. So basically, what I'm trying to do is share some strategies um, to help deal with people who are toxic. Okay, a lot of it has to do with setting boundaries. Okay, also need to. Okay, there might be a situation when you cannot avoid them completely. Okay, family members may not always able to avoid. Certain co-workers might be difficult because the nature of the job. So you just have to do what you can to limit um, your interaction and keep it focused. Okay. And if you're talking about in a work environment when you have a supervisor that's toxic or a manager that's toxic, just focus on doing your job as best as you can. Okay. Now, I have been talking for about an hour. Okay, let me just a second see if there's anyone. Okay. First of all, I just want to acknowledge Rogue Queens 18. And if I mispronounce your names, please forgive me. Um, Elivas 144. Thank you very much for stopping by. Okay. So I've been talking for an hour. Okay. Now, should anyone wishes to hit the link and join in the conversation, they can do so. Okay. Maybe you might have a disagreement regarding what I have discussed. That's perfectly fine. Okay. Or maybe you would prefer to just stay in the chat. That's also fine as well. If no one wishes to enter the chat, enter the panel, enter any more comments, um, I will put the string to bed. Okay. So um, the reason why I'm discussing this issue because we all have to deal with toxic people, and sometimes it could be hard. Sometimes it could be hard dealing with people who are self-centered, people who love to play the victim, people that they love to cast blame and what have you, and so you just have to think for your own well-being. You have to think what's best for yourself. Um, you have to set boundaries, and if anyone that's toxic that refuses to respect your boundaries, then you just have to separate yourselves from these individuals. Okay, because no one, and I repeat, no one should have to tolerate toxic behavior. Okay, and I'm sure those in the chat um, have dealt with toxic people in their lives. Okay, so maybe any one of you would like to enter a comment regarding how you dealt with toxic people. Okay, if you don't feel comfortable about that, I get it. Okay, not everyone always likes are comfortable at the comments. I do have people who watch from the clouds, even the haters. So I get it. But I again, yeah, yeah, that could be very hard when you have family members who are toxic because it's like you can't really avoid them, but yeah, you got to deal with it. So in those situations when you have people um, or family members who are toxic, uh, the best thing you can do is try to limit your interaction with them as much as possible. Now, in my time, I have dealt with toxic people, and I have to set boundaries. And there have been times when I have to like separate myself from them completely, uh, because apparently they did not get the memo, or they don't care, or they don't see a need uh, to change their behavior. Okay, because one of the problems with people who are toxic is the inability to take accountability for their actions. And that could be, and that's so when you have someone that refuses to take accountability, as much as you try to explain it, they just don't get it. And that's the reality. So, but what I will say is this: um, remain calm. Uh, don't make it personal. Uh, try to express how their conduct affect you. Okay. Some people may listen, others may not. Those that don't listen, uh, you may want to limit your interaction with them. Now, I will be live tomorrow night at 9:15 p.m., where I'm going to be talking about patience, a Christian perspective. Okay. So what I'm going to be doing is I talking about how to be patient. What is patience? And of course, it's going to be with a Christian perspective, which means, of course, I'm going to share versus subscription. Now, I do get it. Not everyone subscribes to Christianity. Not everyone will embrace my belief system. I get it. All I ask is the following. For those of you who do not embrace Christianity, who do not accept Christianity, hear me out. Okay? And hopefully that will make sense. Okay? But believe me, it is not my job to try to convince anyone to become a Christian. Okay? I am just simply expressing a point of view. And I'm just giving you a talk about uh, patience as far as Christian values is concerned. Um, Now I will be live also on Thursday on my other channel, and Friday I will be live on the main channel where I will have another session of open discussion. For those of you who are not familiar, in open discussion, I will discuss multiple topics, which I will give my opinion, and of course the audience will have an opportunity to opine. And the audience may have things they want me to talk about, and I will do my best to talk about. Now, let me just start to wrap this up. When it comes to dealing with toxic people, um, what's very important is that you cannot allow them um, to manipulate you. You cannot allow them to make you feel guilty. You cannot allow them to force you to enable their conduct. Okay, so to those that you you can try to discuss with them those that they get don't get the message. Um, in some cases, you may have to avoid them completely, or in other cases, when you cannot avoid it, limit your interaction. And whatever you do, make sure that you surround yourself with positive people who care about you. Okay. Um, and that might be a small circle. So be it. It is best to have a small circle of two or three people that you know that you can depend upon, that have your best interest in heart. That be with a whole slew of people who don't really care either way. So in that case, I will wrap this up, and I do hope that this information that would be helpful to you. Of course, if anyone wishes, they can share it, and just make sure that you don't use my content to try to attack other people, because that's not how I do things here. So, in any case, I'm going to wrap this up by saying the following. We must do everything possible to avoid the presence of the mentally and intellectually challenged, because if we fail to do so, we will be infected by their stupidity and massive insanity. This has been another episode of Uncommon Sense with Jose Negron, saying good night, take care, and peace.